Back in 2013, Fox had a Saturday night block called Animation Domination High Def or something like that. And one of the cartoons that they showed on that block was Golan the Insatiable. Golan the Insatiable started out as a set of, I'm going to say comics, but what I really mean is sort of like single picture comics and little short stories that went with those on the Something Awful forums. And Fox picked them up and made a show out of it. And you got Golan the Insatiable, the cartoon. And it was awesome. Golan the Insatiable was an excellent show. It was about Golan the Insatiable, Godlord Terrible of Gakruel, who was overthrown, sort of like a mutiny, and was exiled to our dimension. And in our dimension, he met a little 6-year-old girl named Dylan Beaker. That is Golan standing behind her, just in case you're wondering why there are giant breasts on the screen. Those are his. And she was essentially a 6-year-old girl who was totally obsessed with death and darkness and cruelty and slaughtering the innocent and, you know, everything a 6-year-old girl is totally into. In this particular episode, she comes down with the chicken pox, and they hold a chicken pox party, and she's totally for it because it means she gets to infect all the other children with her pestilence. And that's just right up her alley. There's a really cool picture, but it's very poor quality, that shows that she's actually standing like on a raised platform, and Golan is standing behind her with like torches raised up, and they're in the basement. And there's all these neighborhood children tied up in a ring around her, and they've got a little hamster tubing, those little clear plastic tubes that hamsters crawl around in. So she's got a set of them all the way around the ring of children, and each one has a little section that ends on their forehead. And so she licks the hamster and then sends it running down the tube to infect everyone. If that sounds like the kind of cartoon you want to watch, the original Golan the Insatiable is awesome. It was only 6 episodes, which is a shame. And they were 10 minutes long, 15 with commercials, which is a crying shame because it was absolutely hilarious and I loved it. So here's another picture just to give you a kind of idea of who this is. Here she's creating a portal to try and send Golan back to Gakruel so that he can take back his kingdom. And, of course, it requires some placenta. So, we have the original Golan the Insatiable that got turned into this cartoon back in 2013. And it was awesome. And now, I want to see which one this is. And I'm going to say it's this one. Yay! They have brought him back. Golan the Insatiable has returned, and it is drawn by the same studio. It is produced by the same producers, but now it's a half-hour long cartoon on Sundays. Which, great. I love the fact that it's back. Great. I love the fact that it's longer, and I'm really hoping that it sticks around for a long time. But it also means that they had to change it some. So, number one, they got a whole new voice cast. I don't know. I can't say a whole new voice cast. One of the press releases I read said a brand new voice cast. They might very well have some people returning. For example, Dylan's sister, Alexis, has the same absolutely horrible voice she did in the first series. So I think that voice actress stayed the same. Dylan's voice actress sounds similar, and it could just be like maybe she was a teen or, you know, younger person, and maybe 2 extra years has changed the voice a little bit, or they found someone with a very similar voice. The only thing I didn't like about Dylan's voice is she busts out this kind of British accent every once in a while, like on purpose when she's being dramatic, and I don't like it. I don't think it sounds cool. but her normal talking voice is very, very similar to the original. Golan, on the other hand, has a horrible new voice. I can't show it to you here, but if you want to, on YouTube, there's plenty of clips, or if you find it on Fox's website, they have clips. Hulu has it, so there's plenty of places to watch it for free. Golan's original voice was awesome and perfect, and this new Golan voice is just way too sitcom-y for me. I don't like it. He does some cool things, especially when he gets all dramatic and his voice goes all monstrous, but his normal talking voice is just bad. Also, I don't remember seeing this particular still during the episodes. There's only been 2 episodes so far. So I don't know how this managed to happen, but man, this captures all the wrongness of the new series compared to the old one. So let me show you. Let me tell you. One, season 2 of Golan the Insatiable is a reboot of the series. So if you've watched the first season at all, everything you just watched is gone. They change a little bit how Golan gets to Earth in the first place. I read in one of the press releases that Dylan was supposed to be a 10-year-old girl, but season 1 specifically says she's 6 years old, and 2, season 2 says she is in 2nd grade, which I thought kindergarten was 5-6, 1st grade was 6-7, and 2nd grade was 7-8. So she's still like a 8-ish year old child. If she's 10 and in 2nd grade, I think she failed a couple times. So I think she's younger than that. Also, as this scene demonstrates, normally 10-year-olds don't tend to have these little plastic play sets, and she's drawing with crayons. So, oh, I know what that is. Never mind, I do know exactly where this still is from. This is mid-animation weirdness. This is nunchucks. It's just 2, but he's twirling it around. So I guess in between frame here, to show movement, they've done it, with both of them there. It's just weird. Anyway, yeah, those are the nunchucks because she's filling out a missing item report for Town Hall with crayons, which is why I know she's not 10. Anyway. They changed the story up a little bit. One of the biggest changes is the fact that Dylan doesn't have a dad anymore. And I can see why they did that. We'll go to the first season again. This was her dad. Her mom is the exact same person, and it may very well have the same voice actress. I believe it's Maria Bamford. The dad, it was, okay, also another change. Just looking at the first of all, this is not his normal face. He's usually much more dour. He's really happy right now because he got a new pair of nunchucks. You can see very similar. He's still got the spiked armbands. Still, a big round guy with horns and pointy teeth. But they got rid of the thong and gave him, bigger pants. And I believe that they moved because of that. His legs are weird. He looks like an action figure with plastic legs that slot in rather than a little bit more normal of a hip. So I think his new design is a little bit stupid looking. Anyway, this was Dylan's dad. And one of the big running jokes was that Golan was constantly emasculating him. In one of the early episodes, in fact, I think it was the very first episode, Dylan, demands that her father kneel before the Godlord of Gakrul. And the wife is like, your father's not going to kneel in his own house. It's like, Carol, no, this is okay. And so he takes a knee before Golan. And then Golan constantly makes jokes about sleeping with his wife. And he actually has a job at the unemployment office, but Golan keeps joking that he's like, oh, if you have a job, then why do you keep getting checks from the unemployment office and other such stuff? I liked the dad character, and I liked what he did in the show, and now he's gone. They have deliberately gotten rid of him, and so all of that kind of humor disappears. And the fact that Dylan doesn't have a dad comes up like 2 or 3 times in the first episode, and I think again in the second episode. So they're really hammering home the fact that she doesn't have a dad, and I'm not cool with that because I really liked his character. If you watch Rick and Morty, the dad in Rick and Morty is kind of similar, where Rick is constantly kind of emasculating him. So, yeah. So the new Golan the Insatiable, the voice actor changes. I got to get used to Golan's new voice. His old voice was so much better. Dylan's voice, very similar. I believe the mom's voice is exactly the same. The sister's voice is definitely exactly the same. Keith, the boyfriend, which I don't have a picture of him, he has a similar voice, but not similar. I would say it's the same person. Just similar in that he has a very soft and lispy kind of voice. And they did that again, but it definitely sounds like a different voice actor doing it. In fact, in the new series, he sounds very much like Jimmy from South Park. The kid with the braces and the crutches who tells jokes. Oh my gosh, if it was the same guy who does Jimmy's voice, I would not be surprised. But actually, I would be a little bit surprised, but it sounds so much like him. So the new Golan, I think, is, in the first 2 episodes, not as good as the original, in my mind. And I went just now, I have watched every first season episode again. They're 10 minutes long, so all 6 of them takes an hour. And I watched the pilot, the season 2 pilot episode again. And yeah, I definitely think that the first one was better. But I'll have to wait to see what they do with it. Maybe it'll improve. This picture really upsets me looking at him smiling like that. He just looks so cartoonish and stupid. When he is supposed to be Golan the Insatiable. See how angry he is? See how cool he looks? Like where the wild things are? But it is a very cool cartoon. Oh, the other thing that they did, which I don't have examples of because it's very hard to find the particular still. The animation style, it's done by the same animation studio, but they were basically, I don't know if someone told them, make it wackier. The movements of the characters are a little bit more pronounced, but not in a good way, in a cartoony way, which I don't think goes very well with the series. For example, one of the big differences is as Dylan speaks and they've got like close-ups on her face, there's more movement to her lips, and it really kind of seems weird. And especially in the first episode, if you watch season 2, episode 1, the first time you see the sister, she does these weird movements, and it's very Ren and Stimpy is what I would call it. She's very bendy and rubbery, and she moves in a very stupid, cartoony way. And actually, the first time you meet, not the first time you meet the mom, the first time Golan shows up and mom sees him in season 2, she does this very cartoony, wacky outtake kind of move. And those were added in, and I don't think they fit the tone quite as well. If things are very cartoony, it really downplays some of the violence and the gore that comes up in the original series. There's not been too much in the secondary one. As an example, in the first series, episode 2, I believe, they go to the water park, and it ends with Golan basically obliterating Alexis's boyfriend Keith, beating the crap out of him, and then Dylan hands him a brick, and he starts smashing the brick off screen, and you see spurts of blood coming, and it's hilarious. It's funny because it's such over-the-top violence. But if you added the bunch of the cartoony stuff from the second season back there, that would definitely downplay some of the violent aspects, and I think you would lose the dark humor of it. So, 1, definitely watch Golan the Insatiable Season 1. 2, go ahead and watch Golan the Insatiable Season 2. You'd almost be better served maybe watching Season 2 first, even though I think that the Season 2 episodes are not nearly as strong as the Season 1 episodes. So, I think you should watch Season 1 first, just because they're stronger episodes. They pack a lot of stuff into 10 minutes, and it's awesome. Golan the Insatiable is a really cool cartoon. All right, until next time, bye-bye.